new ducks and old ducks fly together as a ragtag team of teenagers represent Team USA in the Junior Goodwill Games hockey tournament. 1994 sequel, D2, The Mighty Ducks. I'm Jeremy Johnson.
And I'm Adam Johnson.
This is another episode of Filmgazm.
So you're probably wondering who we are. We are Jeremy and Adam Johnson. We are Austin's older brothers. Austin, who appears on this podcast quite frequently, is one of the kind of original guys, along with Connor Izagiri. They've given us the chance to record this podcast. We got to pick a movie that we wanted to do, and our first crack at it was D2, The Mighty Ducks. Why is that? Why did we pick this movie?
I don't know. We've seen it. We've seen it. Like you were saying the other day, we've collectively seen it an untold amount of times. I could not take a guess at how many times I've seen this movie, honestly. And we reference it when we're together. We reference it, an unhealthy amount, and it's just obvious. But also, I mean, I think when we were talking about it, I kind of brought up, let's do a D2 centric podcast, like as a joke. And then it was like, well, that's got to be the first one we do, right?
Yeah, well, and I think it's a great pick. First of all, it's like incredibly rewatchable. It's like very silly, and it'll be fun to talk about. It's funny. It actually has some like pretty like emotional, like pretty cool moments. And I think it's just like it hit us at the perfect stage of our life. Like, so it came out in 1994. I'm not sure we saw it right away. I mean, you were born in 92, right? So, and I was born in 1990. So, it's not like we saw it when we were 4 and 2, but it did. Whenever we first saw it, I remember like hitting like, oh, okay, this is different. And hockey definitely had a moment in the mid 90s that was like, it was kind of blowing up. It was kind of becoming like clearly like kind of the third or fourth major sport. And the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 1994, New York's team. And it was like this big deal. And then like a couple, as is the NHL's wants, a lockout and a strike ends up kind of like stalling the momentum. The dead puck era comes in, and it's like, oh, okay, this is just not really like what the kids want anymore. But hockey did have a moment. And so the Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks, are named after this movie franchise, because they came in Anaheim. Disney owned the team at the beginning. So it definitely was
crazy,
which is insane. Yeah, which is insane. But it definitely was booming at this time. And I think we kind of just like joined in with that. Like we play roller hockey with our friends because of this movie, in our street and stuff like that. So I think it hit this like perfect time, and you can watch it when you're 6. You can watch it when you're 13. You can even watch it when you're 30 and be like, okay, that's pretty fun. That was a pretty fun movie,
It's entertaining as hell, man. I mean, watching it the few times I've watched it as an adult, it's a bit of a mess, but it's just I'm constantly just questioning like the structure of, things that we'll get into. But yeah, it's just so much fun. It's just such a fun movie, man. Like,
I think.
Adam,
yeah, can you hear me?
Hold up. There's like a severe lag. Like, I'm done talking and I'm watching you sitting there hearing it. Like, is there no lag on your end?
A little bit, yeah. There is a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
He'll cut it off. I mean, it's fine. It's recording on my side, so as long as there's not too big of a gap on my side, then it's okay.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think that's a big reason why we decided to choose this movie. I mean, it is a mess, and it's like from a sports side. So I coach basketball. We can kind of talk about ourselves just a little bit. So I coach basketball like for a living and train kids, girls, boys, down to little kids up to college players, and that's kind of like my profession. So the sports world and coaching world is something I'm pretty interested in. This movie obviously has quite a bit of a coaching element to it, with Coach Bombay being like the star, and I have so much to say about that. But and then I think just the sports side, I'm just obsessed with sports in general. So, basketball and soccer are kind of my main things, but I do love hockey. And so there's little things about this movie that are just like baffling in terms of like, they clearly had a hockey person on the staff that like, okay, it's not like totally a mess, but there's ways the tournament is structured and what teams are in the tournament is like completely baffling. Like it just like makes no sense, but we'll get into that a little bit. So that's another reason why I wanted to do
sure.
Like, you can basically make fun of this movie, but also like praise it at the same time. So that was a big reason for me wanting to do this movie.
For sure. Well, I'm not a coach, but yeah, there was one question that I was thinking about the whole time that you have talked about in the past, about good basketball and bad basketball on film and TV and movies. So I was wondering the whole time, like trying to think about that. Is this good hockey in this movie? And you're right. Yeah, like they definitely had like a consultant, but like, I mean, there's some nonsensical things that happen. I mean, Kenny Wu wrapping around the net, going under a player's legs and shit like that. It's just like nonsense happening on the ice, like people getting roped with a lariat, like I mean, just dumb shit is happening. But it's still, I don't know. I mean, it like I remember being on the edge of my seat, even after I knew what happened. The Ducks are gonna win, right? Like, but I still like the games were super entertaining to me as a kid. A little less so as an adult. I don't know. Kind of just along for the jokes as an adult, I think. But I thoroughly enjoy the game sequences. But I mean, we'll get.
I don't know. It's pretty bad hockey. I mean, so what I'm comparing it to is like I just watched Miracle a couple days ago because I won't name the podcast that did that movie recently on their feed. I like to watch the movies that they do when they post them. So I watched Miracle the other day, and the hockey is like amazing in that because they hired like legitimate college and like former professional hockey players to be the actors in the movie.
Right on.
And it's shot really well. Like, and plus they're all like in their mid-20s, like, I mean, these kids are teenagers. Yeah. And so even the people playing hockey, there's a couple of sequences where I was like, okay, that was pretty good. Like a couple of the Iceland sequences, but there's so many like crazy odd man rushes where it's like 3-on-0 and 4-on-0. And it's like, that just doesn't happen. I mean, that just doesn't like a team would have to just like fall down to like create that. Like the structure of like how the teams are crazy. It makes no sense, Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I got. I mean, but yeah, not knowing as much about sports. I was thinking about Miracle because I do remember learning that they were like teaching hockey players how to act or something like that.
Yeah.
So obviously, the hockey's gonna be better. Like you're gonna have some of the actors saying like, "Oh, that wouldn't happen," or like, "Here's my piece on this." Maybe I don't know.
For sure.
But I mean, assume all these kids learn how to play hockey and skate. The ones that were in the first movie. I also want to just say real quickly that we both recently have rewatched D2 for this episode, but neither one of us watched the original Mighty Ducks. So this is go. We're gonna have to reference the first one a couple times, but like I don't know about you, but my memory is like pretty foggy on some of the details of the first movie. I didn't watch that one as many times.
No, I didn't either, and definitely not the third one. So I think most people think this, but I definitely think this. I think the second one is pretty clearly the best of the three. Definitely the most entertaining of the three. The first one's good. I mean, I like it, and it sets the stage for everything else. But I think the second one is pretty clearly the best movie. The first one, basically, what happens is Emilio Estevez plays the star. He's Gordon Bombay. He's this hockey coach. Well, in the first one, he's like this hotshot lawyer who used to be a hockey player who gets in some sort of trouble. I can't remember exactly what it was, but his like community service is he has to coach this Pee Wee hockey team. And at first he's like, "Oh, this is a joke. I hate this," or whatever. And then he kind of grows to love the kids and is like puts everything into it, and they end up kind of like upsetting this like elite club team and like, oh yeah, like he's the Minnesota Miracle Man. He took this ragtag group of kids and made them like the state champs or whatever. So that's essentially like the crux of like the first movie, and that leads into the second one, which basically this movie opens with Gordon Bombay's character as like a kid skating on a pond, like sentimental music, and then he's in the minors playing for the Minnesota Waves, which is cleverly named. Is
that a real minor league team? I feel like not. I mean, it's not.
No,
okay,
no.
all right.
No,
I don't know what the minor league. I don't even know what the minor league team. I don't if there is one here. I'm sure there are many. By the way, I also live in Minnesota. That's why I'm sitting here.
Yes.
I actually grew up to move to the town that part of Mighty Ducks 2 is based in St. Paul, Minnesota. So I loved it that fucking much. I just decided to fucking move here. But
it was incepted into your head when you were a kid.
Yeah. I had to. I fucking had to. Yeah. But we got to talk about this writer you were telling me about, and or before we talk about the writer, talk about this guy Sam Weisman, I think is how you say his name, the director of this movie. Who I never wondered who the director. For me as a kid, I never wondered who directed movies. I mean, I don't know.
I didn't.
But Even as an adult, I still was never like, I wonder who directed this. But I did look that up. He directed a lot of TV. Some of his other work. The only two movies I noticed in his IMDb was George of the Jungle, which tracks, right? That's the same kind of silly movie. And then Dickie Roberts, that David Spade movie where he's like a child star who like never takes off his gloves. It says this is knocking futz, on the sitcom. He was, I thought that was a weird little connection. But yeah, what would you say this writer's name was? We were talking about him the other day.
Stephen Brill is the guy who wrote the both movies and like created the characters. He's basically the creator of the Mighty Ducks and all the characters and all the players and all that stuff. And then he also wrote and directed Heavyweights, which stars quite a few of the players. Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, Heavyweights is great. We should do that.
Heavyweights is rad. Watch Heavyweights.
Yeah.
Okay, the kid that plays Jerry in Heavyweights, I don't know his name. Is he in the first Mighty Ducks?
Yes, he is. He's a Carp in
What's
the first Mighty Ducks. Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's tragic that he got cut for the second one.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of kids that did not make it to the second movie, right?
Yeah. Aaron Schwartz is Gerald Garner's name in Heavyweights.
Yeah, I can't believe that like Guy Germain made it to D2. Like, God, the whole movie I was just like, what's the point of this guy? I mean, if they would have pushed the romantic subplot between Guy Germain and Connie Moreau, it would have made a little more sense. But like, they didn't. They didn't really. That. I don't know.
Yeah, they just dropped.
All right. But yeah, of course we got Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Duck Man,
making his return. Yes,
making his return. Yeah, he's the star power behind this film, right? And I know I've just always known him as a famous guy because of this movie, but like I don't really know much about what other films he did. Did you look up anything on him? Or you're on your laptop right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could pull that. Yeah, I mean, because I know this dude's famous as hell. Is it this movie that kind of made him really famous?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's in obviously quite a few other things. Like, I mean, Young Guns 2 is like one of the top things on his IMDb. But
I think both are Young Guns, right? He's the main. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. This is what brought him to fame for sure. Because I mean, remember in Night at the Roxbury, they make like multiple jokes about like Emilio Estevez, like Emilio. I saw Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Duck Man. Yeah, so it's like that definitely. That was definitely like what brought him to kind of the fame that he got and then been nice. And it's just like, it's kind of a funny. I mean, he's not that good. I mean, that's the thing is like I made notes on that. It's like this is not some like amazing star turn from Estevez, like Academy Award nominated stuff. Like he's just the name that kind of got the movie made. I mean, which I don't know. I mean, they needed somebody, and I mean, he's not bad. It's just this like totally like average like like performance from this guy who's like supposed to be emotional. I mean, there's times where you can kind of dial it up and be like, oh man, he really cares about these kids, but for the most part, it's like a totally fine performance.
I feel like I've seen him in like a Vietnam movie. I don't even know why I said this because I can't think of what it's called. But I feel like I've seen him in things like doing some pretty decent acting. I mean, I don't even know if that was worth saying because I can't think of shit that he's in.
I was gonna say, well, enlighten us.
This is going nowhere. But you're right. It's not. I mean, that's not. You're not watching this movie for his incredible performances, right? Like, I want to see this.
He's no Keanu Reeves in Hardball.
Nobody can kick my ass better than me.
So the movie is like centered around him essentially, and so he gets hurt in this minor league game. He thinks he's like very close to making the NHL. Gets hurt in this minor league game, hurts his knee, has to go back home to what do we know what town he goes back to? Because they make these jokes like rinky dink town.
No, that's St. Paul, man.
That's what I thought. And I was like,
the bus that he gets off of, he gets off this bus and then like they're playing this song that's like, this too shall pass. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's like it's fucking raining cats and dogs. Like he's got a cane because his legs. You still hear me?
Yeah.
All right. He's got a cane because his like legs all fucked up. And he's like, home sweet home, good to be back or something. that you can see Mickey's across the street, Mickey's dining cart, which is like, I think that him and Charlie Conway share a meal together at Mickey's Diner in the first movie.
Okay.
Mickey's is also in, I think, like Jingle All the Way or something. I don't know. It's this little dining cart, and that's like 10 minutes from where I live, in downtown St. Paul.
Okay, so they act like that is like, just this dump of a town, like tiny, like Palookaville, Minnesota, the Hendricks.
As we call it, because I want to be sharper in skates. So this is rinky-dink town.
It's like it's fucking St. Paul. Yeah, it's like it's a big city.
It is. I do kind of get like after. So I mean, I've lived here for over like 10 years now. I do kind of get that concept now. I remember talking about that when we were like teenagers, being like, all right, so it's part of the Twin Cities, which is like one of the largest, I guess probably the second largest Midwestern metro. I might be wrong on that. I mean, the only one that I think is definitely bigger is Chicago. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, there's an
whatever.
NHL team
It's a large metropolitan area.
They have an NHL team there.
Yeah. It's not a joke. Yeah, and here's something that's kind of funny. This is the 90s, so I have no clue what St. Paul looked like then, or like what it was like then. But like where he gets off the bus, if you walk like 3 more minutes, like down the street, the XL Center is right there, where the Wild, the NHL team, play. So I mean, and the XL Center may not have been there at that time.
No, it would not have been. It would not have been.
Okay, yes, I don't know how long it's been there.
So
or I don't even know how long the Wild have been. I don't know how long they've been a team, really.
So no, it hasn't been that long. So the Minnesota North Stars left Minnesota in the early 90s and went to Dallas, became the Dallas Stars. So and then the Minnesota Wild came in as an expansion franchise, I believe, in the year 2000.
Right, because he's wearing a North Stars hat when he gets off the bus.
Yes. So Minnesota Wild came in 2000. They founded in 2000, and they played the XL Energy Center that whole time. So that probably wasn't even built for another 5 or 6 years. That
right. Okay. So, all right. So that's also just a little funny piece of trivia, though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Where he gets off the bus. Yeah.
But there he is. Yeah. So I mean, so he's obviously like, oh, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of this town. And so a normal movie would like spend quite a bit of time in that, like, oh, he's stuck in this like limbo, but it's like the next scene, like the Hans character has like recruited this guy to come recruit him to be the USA coach for, okay, this is not the only time I'll talk about this, the Junior Goodwill Games. Like they're talking about this as if this is like the freaking like World Cup of hockey, like it's the Junior Goodwill Games. Obviously it takes place in LA, because that's giving.
Is this a real thing?
It used to be. Yeah, it used to be. They may still do it, but like in the junior competition world, the only thing that has any real weight, the Junior Olympics, like a little bit, a few people care about that, and like the U20 World Cup, people care about. After that, and then the junior hockey championships in Canada, like all the junior teams, like the junior like club teams, essentially, people care about that. But like no one would care about this, like no one at all, and much less even if they cared about this, they wouldn't care about the hockey at this competition. You know what I mean? Like, and like it wouldn't be in the summer. It wouldn't be the same time as like the track. And, it's like what? That's so weird. Like, it's a summer hockey tournament.
Press conferences and shit. Like,
yes.
Like TV cameras everywhere.
That woman recognizes them at that store. That woman recognizes them. Oh, you're USA.
You guys are USA. Like, what? Some fucking Beverly Hills socialite. You're just fucking hanging out at a dress shop. Like, I just saw you guys. Can we get some?
I mean, how old are they? 15, 16? How old do you think they are? I mean, they're probably all about, sophomores or juniors in high school, maybe.
No, well, okay. I'm just gonna reference the third movie real quick. When I was a kid, I always thought the third movie was them going to college. They're just in high school. They're freshmen in high school.
Yes.
In the third movie, so like normally freshmen are like 14 to 15, like maybe 16, right? Like at the 14, oldest.
I'd say. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but they could be even younger than that. Like I don't know.
So I guess we're led to assume that this is the summer before they go to high school.
Wait, what?
I mean, in the Mighty Ducks universe, this is probably the summer before they go to high school. So yeah, they're 14.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I would guess that they're about 14. So
okay,
these are 14-year-old hockey players. Like And like, oh, they've got the nation on pins and needles. Like, oh man, like we're all watching Team USA hockey at the Junior Goodwill Games.
We're all pulling for you.
It's like, what are you talking about?
Like, I don't know. There's so much weird shit surrounding the structure of the tournament.
So let's get into that. Let's get into that. So basically what happens is they train a little bit together. They bring in, it's half of the team is ducks from the previous movie.
It's more, they say
more
half
than half
at one point. It is, it's mostly, and you can really see that in we'll talk about that scene where they all say where they're from later. It's only 5 players from other places in the US, right?
Okay. And here's where the 5 players are from, which like not exactly hockey hotbeds, but let's get into that.
Well, Chicago, right?
Chicago makes sense. And Bangor, Maine makes a little bit of sense.
Maine.
Okay, San Francisco, California. I mean, no, sorry.
You got Kenny Wu.
Okay, Miami, Florida. Like what? Hockey hotbed, Miami, Florida, and then Austin, Texas. Like what is this?
Well, isn't there a huge like complex in? Isn't there like a lot of hockey in Dallas because of the Stars moving there?
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, that one wasn't as weird, but of course he has a fucking cowboy hat and a lasso, and he's like a farm boy. That's the less believable part. I mean, I think like he's either going to be a suburb kid or like an urban kid, right? Like,
right.
That's how he's going to get into hockey. Like, no, he grew up on a farm. It was just like my dreams to play hockey. Like, I have some questions about Dwayne's story, his background, but I fucking love this scene though. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie when they introduce the new players. They play the Olympics when Kenny Wu comes out and Emilio Estevez is like, or Gordon's like, isn't that the kid from the Olympics? And it's like, Dad,
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, the introduction of the characters is good, and I will say one thing that makes these movies good, especially D2, is it's an incredibly diverse cast, which is really cool, and I think that's one of the reasons it's stood the test of time. Like honestly, if this is real, if this is like really the like elite American players, they'd almost all be white. Like
hockey's a very white sport,
very white. So I think that I think it actually adds to the movie's kind of uniqueness and its rewatchability, and people from all different walks of life can really enjoy it because like they're represented on screen. It's really cool. I think that part of it is cool, including the fact there's 2 girls on the team and no other team has women on the team. Like,
well, we don't know that for sure. We definitely know Iceland has no girls because like we don't really get like ensemble shots of the other teams.
That's true.
That's
true.
But
I mean,
surely, you're probably right.
Yeah.
That Julie and Connie are the only girls in the Junior Goodwill Games hockey tournament.
which apparently, okay, so here's I mean, I don't even know where to go with the tournament. So there are about 12 teams, I think I gathered. There's one.
I wrote them down actually. There's 10.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm gonna say one of them last, and I know you know which one I'm gonna say last. Okay. Sure. All right. So I paused it on the scene where they show the like the standings or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we got Iceland, which is they're the antagonistic team. Germany, USA, Italy, which is Italy. Is hockey big there?
Not really. I mean, it's not like crazy far-fetched but they would not be one of the ones you'd pick.
Okay, like also, Norway is absent from this. I was thinking like, what? I mean, I think they kind of just wanted maybe they just wanted that joke where Goldberg talks shit to the Italy player. I don't know, but they probably thought of that joke and then said, "Let's add Italy." I don't know.
Well, okay. The other strange thing about Italy is when they play them, their uniforms are green, which no Italian national team wears green. Like they have one dark green. Like the soccer team has one dark green like alternate, but blue is the royal color, and they all wear blue. Like all of their sports teams wear blue. So
you're saying Italy all wears blue?
Italy, yeah.
Oh.
Or like white, or they just have like a white uniform, but like they're like
not at the Junior Goodwill Games.
No, at the elite of the elite.
I just watched it, Adam. I just watched the Junior Goodwill Games. They were not wearing blue. Then Russia
makes sense.
Makes sense. Canada, of course. France. Well, sure, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not crazy.
Denmark. Okay. Sweden, of course.
Yeah, Sweden got to do that.
Yep. Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay. And isn't Jamaica in it too? There's another scene where you can see a Jamaican flag where it says like "Welcome Junior." Okay, there's one scene in the locker room where they pan. It's like before they do the whole like, I'm from wherever, like, ducks fly together.
Yeah.
There's a like a banner up, and it's like welcome Junior Goodwill Games hockey, and it has all these flags, and also on that is all the teams you named plus the Czech Republic and Jamaica. Like what? Like what? Like,
weird.
Why are they in this hockey tournament? That's insane. So I would say the biggest misses are Finland for sure. Like Finland is like historically like
Finland and Norway, man.
Yeah, Norway.
Are the two.
The Czech Republic are not in the standings you said, but like they would easily be on there if it was one of the best. And Slovakia too. Slovakia is a huge, hockey team. So yeah,
I didn't know that.
And Canada would be the best, like easily. I mean, Iceland, I feel like is a stand-in for like Russia, essentially. Like they're trying to like, oh, it's like they're the Russians of the 1980 Olympics. You know what I mean? Like they're the unbeatable team. Like they're they're so good. When that's like just not true in real life. I mean, like they're whatever. They're like this middle of the road like hockey country. Like
yeah. That I also was thinking about that. Like that. I've never heard of Iceland. I just don't really want to even say anything because I don't know anything about Iceland. Like I just the thing that I learned from this movie, the Iceland is very nice. What is it? Like Greenland is full of ice and Iceland is very nice. I learned that from this movie.
yeah. But yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense that they'd be like the powerhouse. Like that's just like whatever. I mean, they just wanted to pick some like kind of like almost like random country that people like don't know that much about. So it's like, okay, we just like won't question it, like whatever. Yeah, like they're the powerhouse. So like we'll go. I don't know. But anyway.
Why Trinidad?
Like, no, I know, that's the one
that they could have just picked like a more like I don't know, maybe they wanted like a relatively lesser known country, or maybe they wanted the scene where they're fucking playing like island music like over the corner like yeah. They beat this team like 9-2 or something, which is also just crazy. But like they crushed Trinidad. Like there's several. I mean, the scores in this movie are just bonkers. Like
nuts.
I think there's like an 11-2 or something at one point. Yeah. Like,
well, the Iceland team beat USA the first time 12-1.
Jesus.
12-1. That's what he says in the that's 12-1. He says in the back. So okay,
Don Tibbles.
Let's start talking about a couple of characters. So Don Tibbles, I think, is the first one we got to talk about. So he is the Hendricks hockey like VP of whatever.
Well, hold up. If we're talking about the characters, I think we gotta talk about the recruitment scene. Oh no, I guess Don Tibbles shows up first before the
he does. Yeah, he does.
The skating scene. Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Tibbles of Hendricks Hockey Apparel, which is
Jans. We gotta talk about Jans.
Oh, for sure. And the actor change that happens with that. Yeah, it's wild.
They went back to the fucking old country.
Okay, well, okay, explain that real quick. So there's this like old sage, I assume German man, Jan. So okay, Jan.
I think he's Hans in the first movie.
Yes. And then it's Jan in the second movie. It's a different character, it's a different actor. Yeah. And they do try to explain it away. What does he say? He went back to the old country. I don't know, like to see his mom or something. What was the?
Yeah, he went back to the old country for the summer to be with Mama or something.
Right. So that's their way of explaining why we have a different actor in this. Like,
so this is his brother.
Yeah, his brother. Yeah.
Yeah, Jan. Yeah.
So Jan is the one who kind of gets whatever like. This guy Don Tibbles, the Hendricks hockey guy, to come to Minnesota or whatever. He recruits him. So Don Tibbles is he's the suit essentially in this movie. He's like the guy behind the guy. He's like has all the connections. He sets up like interviews. He supplies Gordon Bombay with his contract and like allows him to become this like famed hockey coach of this junior USA Goodwill. I can't even say it with a straight face. Like it's so absurd. Like this like
it's all photo shoots and champagne and babes from here on out. Like he's coaching this junior Goodwill games.
It's so ridiculous. Like I can't even say it this straight. Oh shit! So this guy Don. What's the actor's name? I gotta give him some kind of credit because he's actually pretty funny. Like
he's great. Yeah. There's really no one that like is just like bad.
Michael
Tucker. No one who's bad. That's the guy's name.
Michael Tucker is the actor's name. Yeah. And so he basically is like, he's the connection guy or whatever. And in the movie, we'll have to move along through the movie pretty quickly here, but like, I mean, essentially it like kicks into gear when the team comes together. They recruit the 5 kids from other parts of the country. And, they all, they're trying to like, oh, how do we become a team or whatever. And, Bombay he does these like team building things. It's like very just like classic coach. Like, let me get this like group together. That's like somewhat, ragtag, but he obviously has like a lot of, affection for the original Ducks, like all the players in the team that he had in the Minnesota team. Like he definitely is like feels a kinship to them and is like, okay, let's let these outsiders come in. But like clearly like the Ducks are like his boys, and girls, like that's the ones that he like really wants to kind of rely on and stuff like that, which, that's not really how that would work. I mean, if they actually did like do this, like, hey, here's this goodwill.
Yeah, they wouldn't just take a team from Minnesota and then just say, well, let's just add a couple of other players.
Exactly.
Like
That's not
probably be doing like the all-state kid from every like
there'd be a selection
badass
committee.
all-state kid from every like region or whatever. I don't know.
Well, and to be honest, they'd all be from like Boston or Michigan or Minnesota. Like that. That's just how that works. I mean, the very best hockey players in our country are
they'd be from hockey towns.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, it's whatever. It creates a, like it's not that big a deal. It creates just kind of a more intrigue and stuff like that. So, Catherine Irby plays Michelle, who is the team's tutor. She comes in. She's like, they're gonna be gone for a while. So like,
Coach McKay.
Yeah. She's clearly from Minnesota, laying on the accent.
Yeah.
So. She's from Duluth, right? Is that where she said she's from?
Yeah, we're when we get to that scene, dude, that they gave a shit about which towns each character were from. Like after living here, yeah. But wait, what did you say her name was?
Catherine Irby.
All right, so she's also like the love interest, sort of.
Kind of.
It's Gordon Bombay.
It's a pretty asexual movie.
Replacing Charlie Conway.
Yeah.
Charlie Conway's mom from the first movie is like his love interest.
And they explain that away by saying like, oh yeah, his mom like remarried or whatever, like pretty early in the movie. Because Charlie shows up like right away. Like he like goes and like he's sharpening the skates like right when Gordon wakes up. And Charlie Conway is played by Joshua Jackson, who probably, I would say him and Keenan have gone on to the most fame.
Yeah. The only other person I would bring up would be Eldon Henson, the guy that plays Fulton Reed. He was in like Hunger Games, one of the Hunger Games movies. He was in the Daredevil TV series. I've seen him showing up in other things, but yeah, like everyone else, I don't know. I feel like I vaguely recognize like Connie Moreau as an adult, the actor that plays Connie Moreau.
She's been in a couple things. Yeah. She's still acting like to this day. But
is she in Wet Hot American Summer?
She is.
That's where I recognize her from.
Yeah.
What is her name? Do you have her name?
Margaret Moreau.
Okay. Her actual name's Moreau.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway, yeah. So Joshua Jackson is Charlie Conway, and he's like this, he's the captain of the team. He's like the selfless leader, classic hockey captain. So, and he's good in these movies. Like he's pretty good. You can tell he's like, oh, this kid's like a real actor. Like he's not, just like some random kid they put up here. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, as the movie kind of continues, like we get into the tournament, that they're winning. They're playing great, and then they run into the Iceland team, and then as they're winning, the kind of like ego of Bombay gets bigger and bigger. And they eventually, he's given this outrageous house, like Malibu house, like, I mean, millions and millions of dollars that I guess just rent for a month for him to have, like, while, they're playing in this tournament, which is like, okay, come on. Like
before he sees the house, he's like, I think this is the first moment when we see his fall from grace. He's like, I like to stay with the team. I'm staying with the team in the dorms. And then he sees the house and he's like, they'll probably be fine on their own.
Yeah.
Don Tibbles is slowly enticing him into the world of the hot shot world of Pee Wee LA coaches.
Yeah. The big wigs. So that kind of becomes like a plot line of the movie is like, oh, like, he's like lost his way. And the Michelle character, the like tutor is like kind of the moral compass. Like she's trying to like, pull him back. Like, oh, like, are you sure this is what hockey's about? Like, bears with sunglasses, like, and all that, like, press conferences. And,
I have a couple of things about the first two times that Charlie does it first. When they get the new Team USA jerseys, Charlie does it first, and Charlie's like, Coach, I thought we were supposed to be Ducks, like, or something, which is like dumb as shit, man. Like, like, no, you're playing a different team. Like, no, you're not the Ducks anymore. You're playing as Team USA. Like, it's very normal for you to get new jerseys. Like, and you've also got 5 other players like who are not from your team that you were on when you were, before. I just feel like it's a stupid problem. And like, I mean, I think Bombay says something along the lines of like, this is what it's like, man. They see the Wheaties box and all that. Like, but I feel like McKay's problem too is also just like not that big of a deal. Like, what there's a like a furry mascot. Like that's a very common thing of sports, right? I mean, like those guys are around all the time. Like she's like, this is part of hockey.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I mean, not really, but it like it's not that. What's so bad about this bear with sunglasses? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think their problem, like, I mean, like Bombay does go off the rails, right? When he gets the suit and he just like stops caring, Captain Blood, his Captain Blood phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really bothered by Charlie's problem with that. It's like, come on, man, grow up. Well, he's like 14, but whatever. I was really bothered by Charlie in that scene.
Yeah. No, yeah. Of course they're gonna wear USA on their jerseys. Like they're representing the USA. Like it's not gonna be this little Minnesota club team. Like they're not just gonna adopt that as which is what makes the last scene in the movie like so absurd. But yeah, his like whole we're losing ourselves here. Like we're not the little town team anymore. Like it's definitely like, I get it. Like the movie has to have some sort of tension, but it's kind of like lame. I mean, the press conference definitely like is a little over the top. Like it's weird to call a press conference, have the entire team up there. Like I could see, I'm sure somebody wanted to like interview Bombay. Like I could even as big as like a New York Times type thing would be like, hey, like here's this little sports story. Like this coach that like happened to coach this Minnesota team is like now coaching this, national team at the Junior Global Games. Like here's this like little back page story about it. But like this like, 100 reporter like press conference in front of the LA Coliseum. Like, come on. And one of the questions is the woman calls the team the Iceland Vikings are like one of the favorites. It's like, okay, people don't go by like the Iceland Vikings. Like, not the American.
They do though. Like they have like a Viking on their jersey. So that is also like, why couldn't the USA be the Ducks? I guess just to give Charlie one. But yeah, I mean, they're slowly kind of putting in our minds that Iceland's the enemy, and like
for sure.
This is the first time we see them in this scene.
Yeah.
And earlier on in the movie, when they're introducing the 5 new players, which again, one of my favorite scenes, because Dean Portman, he's like Dean Portman, Chicago, Illinois, and Bombay's like, the guy's a goon. My kids don't play that kind of hockey. And Portman's intro into this movie is so fucking rad. He comes out just playing like air guitar and a stick. He's like, showtime. He's like way bigger than all the other kids, and he's just like, don't you know? Like, he's like, he pushes somebody over, he picks up Kenny Wu, puts him on the net, tosses a stick to Connie. He's like, here you go, sweetie.
Yeah. He's got cut off, his like jersey's cut off at the shoulders. Like, yeah, it's like his headphones in. Like, who is this?
He's got his hair's kind of that 90s wet style with the black bandana headband.
And Fulton is like, yeah, this is my guy.
Yeah, this movie is dripping in 90s fashion, man.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, so speaking of that, let's talk about that real quick. So there's obviously a huge nostalgia kick right now with like just in fashion in terms of general, like the 90s have just been hot for like a long time, like just 90s clothes, gear, all that stuff, like style and everything, and like thrifting and all that stuff. So the original like idea to name a freaking NHL team after a kid's movie was like met with such like derision and like, oh, like that's so funny. And even Space Jam has a joke about it. Like Space Jam is like, oh, what kind of, there's a line where one of the characters says, what kind of Mickey Mouse organization would call themselves the Ducks? And like they're joking, they're like making fun of the fact that like the Anaheim Ducks, which is this expansion franchise in the NHL in the 90s, called themselves the Ducks based after this movie, and then created those new logos, which we see at the end of this movie. And that's one of those jerseys. But here's the thing, it fucking worked because those jerseys go for crazy amounts on eBay. Like that logo is like so sought after. It's such like a cool thing for like a kid to wear like on a hat.
And it is rad though. Like it.
Oh, for sure.
You're talking about the current like, or what the one like the one they made up in this movie, like the duck like goalie mask, right? Yeah.
Yes.
No, dude, it's such a cool logo, and
Yeah. So what was funny at the time and what was like made fun of at the time, like whoever kind of came up with the idea, they were right. Like that ended up being huge and was like incredibly popular. And it was aided by the movie. It's just true. And like even to this day, like, I mean, I could see a kid that I coach who's like 15 years old, like, wasn't even thought of when this movie came out, or even when the Ducks were even wearing these uniforms. And they'd be like, oh, that looks cool. Like, that's a cool logo. Like, I want to wear that jersey. I want to wear that hat or whatever it may be. Like, which is crazy. I mean, so like it clearly worked. I mean, that idea was smart and it held, but yeah, I mean, back to kind of like where we are in the movie. I mean, again, we're getting this conflict of like the Iceland team is the big bad, and Gordon's lost his way, and eventually he has to kind of find his way through the old sage, right? Jan comes up to Malibu. He
goes to his house. Yeah,
he surprises him in the house.
I think he just like breaks in, right? Like,
yeah, like how does he?
He's just in there, like sitting on a chair, turning on the lamp, like he's just already in there. I think he like made some food too.
He did.
Hassan Papa next.
Yeah.
Before the Hassan Papa next get gold.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what he makes. And he reminds Gordon, like, like you've gone too far. Like this, like look at this, look at yourself, like look where you are. What does he say? He says you look like you've just got out of the shower.
He's talking about his hair. He's like, I saw your picture of. And he sees him in like TV or the newspaper or something. Which again, to what we've been saying the whole time about how way too blown out of proportion this shit is. But like, yeah, he's like, your hair. Something said something about his hair, and then Gordon's like, it's called a style, yeah. Yeah. It's like, you look like you just got out of the shower.
It's so good. And the kids make fun of him too when he goes into the locker room with the haircut. Yeah. It's before the Iceland game, and Averman, which who we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, like nice haircut. You get 2 pairs of pants with that or something like that. Yeah. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, he kind of convinces him like,
doesn't get enough time in this movie, man.
Averman?
Oh, yeah, I don't think Averman. He doesn't get enough time, man. Like,
yeah, he's hilarious. But yeah, he kind of like reels him back in and is like, hey, like you've lost your way. And I mean that house is like the scene of like when he first walks in, they use that like Malibu ridiculous house when he first like gives it to him, and then that party scene that they have, which is where like all those cameos happen, which like we gotta I guess discuss that real quick. So Stephen Brill is actually in that, like the writer and the creator of this movie is actually in that scene as like one of the guys talking to him.
Like, is he the guy that he I think he like introduces him as a screenwriter or something?
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, that's Stephen Brill. And then there's 3 like major NHL players. Cam Neely, who plays who's in one of them, who actually is also in Dumb and Dumber. He plays Seabass in Dumb and Dumber. Like the guy that
he's an actual hockey player.
Yeah, Cam Neely played for Brill for a long time. Yeah,
Chelios is one of them, right?
Chris Chelios, and then Luke Robitaille is the other one. So right. And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and I a couple lines. But he's like really funny. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's like you think there's enough kids that want to coach or whatever, like to wear a logo.
It's called the Air Bombay. It's a loafer for kids who want to coach. Oh, my favorite interaction in that party is when there's like this little throwaway scene where Don Timmels is like, everybody wants to be something in this town or wants to be more than they are, and he stops one of the like caterers, like one of the women walking around with a serving tray, and he's like, hey, what do you do? And she's like, I don't know, I'm a caterer or something. And he's like, what do you really want to do? She's like, I want to be an executive of a major studio,
like production company. Yeah.
And he's like, good, that'll be all. And just like waves her off.
Yes. Okay. So that woman,
Don Timmels is such a fucking dick, man.
that woman is in Heavyweights.
Yeah, dude. She's like Pat's. She's a nurse, right?
Yeah, she's the nurse. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her.
There's another Stephen Brill and Heavyweights connection. So that seems pretty cool. But that's like the other time that house is used. And then also when Jan finally convinces him, like, hey, go back to your roots type thing. And so Bombay like takes his dose of medicine. We see him go like skate by himself, rollerblade by himself, like in this like Venice Beach little like sunset scene where he's like I just got to get back to the game. Like this is what it originally was, and which is like a callback to the beginning of the movie when he's just skating on that pond in Minnesota, And so he definitely kind of he finds himself again. But then he shows up like incredibly late to a game, like which makes me. I had like so many questions about that. It's like why is he late? So was that scene where he was just like skating around by himself? Was that like should he have like been with the team at that time? Like, but why is he so late to the game?
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of like. The players are kind of like, he's not here. Like, you abandoned us,
Yeah.
I think the sole reason is just so that they could have the scene where McKay, like says like, I'll be the coach. Like, and, there's a couple of funny little things they did with that where,
right.
McKay's like, how do I, he's like, we gotta put fresh
look
players.
tired.
She says, we look tired. Yeah. And they're like, and Charlie's just like, say, change it up. She's like, change it up.
Yeah.
He's like, louder. She's like, change it up. And they all do the lineup change or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the subs come out. And she's like, cool. I think they wanted that, but they also wanted the scene where Gordon runs back in with the duck call.
Yeah. Yep.
And just kind of says like, I'm so sorry to all the players. And, it's part of the redemption arc. I think that's the sole reason why he wasn't there. Cause doesn't make any sense. But we get that good little training montage where, where Jan is there. Like Luis, your speed is a great weapon.
Yeah.
You must learn to harness it.
So they win that game. So that game's against Germany, the one that they're like when he comes in late. So they win that game.
And this is after the Iceland loss, though.
Right.
I think we should say real quick. So this is a double elimination tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And one more loss and they would go home. So
yeah,
they're down.
Also doesn't make sense. Like that's just not how tournaments like that would be. Like it'd be a group stage and then like you'd have a final four or whatever. Like,
I didn't even want to think about that.
Yeah, it's like that's just not how that tournament would play out. But whatever. Okay, so double.
But they needed the scene where Iceland beats their ass, right? I mean, that's how they had to structure it.
Which Austin and I were talking about this. It's structured slightly similar to the way the 1980 U.S. hockey team played. Like they played the Soviet Union in a warm-up game right before the Olympics, and they got absolutely destroyed. And then they go into the Olympics and they have to tie Sweden, which they do, and then they get to this like medal round, which is where they beat the USSR, and that's like obviously the iconic game, the Miracle on Ice game, But
right.
It's the same kind of structure, which is like Iceland is like the stand-in for the Russian team. So that's basically like the format of it. But yeah, even if it was double elimination. Like that last game, that would have been Iceland's like first loss, isn't it? I mean, they never talk about Iceland losing at any point, do they?
I actually didn't notice it on this watch, but I vaguely remember them just like saying really quick at
like
some
Canada,
point,
like Canada,
that Iceland did lose to another team.
To Canada, yeah, I think that's right. I think there's.
Well, then what the hell? What happened to Canada then?
Exactly. Like Canada would be awesome. Like at this stage, like they'd be like
right. I mean, Canada's like. When I think about like the greatest hockey countries, Canada is usually one I think of.
It is by far the greatest hockey country.
Like that's their sport,
They've won the Olympics more than anybody else. They've won the World Cup more than anybody else. They won the juniors more than anybody else. And yeah, they're the preeminent.
Right. We never even see them. We never see them.
You never see them. Never even see a clip of them, highlight them, anything. But we do see Wayne Gretzky. So
yeah, the great one, the great one.
So they get back.
Please,
on track,
please,
right?
Wayne.
Like, they're a team again, and yeah, that scene you mentioned, like Jan like training Luis. Okay, the way he decided to do that, so he stacks up 100 cans of soda. Like I mean, how many? Like a ridiculous amount of cans of soda in this like triangle shape to get Luis to try to stop in front of it. The time it would take to set all of that back up every single time is like not worth. Like
you just use anything. Like you don't even need to use anything. You have walls all around you. Just like stop before the wall. Like why the hell
does it have to be this like intricate can of like what is that?
Yeah, and also like Jan is like old as shit, dude.
Yeah,
he's gonna be bending down and picking up. I mean, I assume Luis is gonna help him, right? Like pick all the cans up, but that's. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're like, okay, we're back in the like, we're in a good mood mode. There's the one scene of Bombay with the Iceland girl and like Reed Fulton and Dean Portman. They like run into him in the streets or whatever. They see him in the streets. And they joke about it later. Like it's all like clearly like there was this unraveling, and then there's like this he's recommitted to the team type thing, and they work harder. They start to do things they should have been doing the entire time, like scout the opposition. Like, oh, what a crazy concept! Like let's figure out what they do. Oh wow, like I do that with like a freaking like freshman team in high school. Like I like, hey, let's like watch this team and like figure out what they do so we can try to stop it when we play them. Like, come on, like if this is as big of a deal as like the media is making it out to be, you would have scouted these teams. Like it's not like you just show up and be like, oh, like I guess we'll just play Italy today. Like that's ridiculous. So they finally start like scouting the team, and he burns that image of him in the firing barrel, as he calls it, right?
This is a distraction. This is a firing barrel. This is a distraction and a firing barrel.
And they all start clapping.
Any questions?
Like, yeah,
Well,
awesome.
oh my god, when they make the photo shoot scene, dude, where he gets the cutout from, when it's just like it's just all these models like only wearing Hendrix hockey jerseys,
Right,
and he's
right.
just like wearing a suit, and like everyone's like there's hands all over him, like doing his hair and make sure his suit's good. And he's like, "Whoa, I'm just a small town Minnesota guy," like just throwing him up there, and let's playing that. Was it Mr. Big Stuff or something?
Yes. Well, then
That's a great scene.
And then the other, we'll get to like kind of just favorite like small scenes in a little bit, but I love
Adam, hold on real quick though. I gotta see if I can switch to the other headphones real quick, because this one my charging port. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Is it good enough without the headphones?
It's a little bit of a downgrade.
I can't hear you for shit. Let me try something here.
Okay.
Yeah, my phone is like fixing to die, so.
Okay. Just resumed it. Okay, where were we exactly?
Shit.
Oh yeah. There's other little scenes that I want to talk about at the end, just kind of favorite little ones, but obviously the one with them at the Beverly Hills or the Rodeo Drive little store, we'll talk about.
Hell yeah,
that was a fun one. But yeah, I mean, essentially the rest of the movie, it all kind of culminates with like the final game against Iceland, which Wayne Gretzky comes and like congratulates them on making or whatever, like
which I can believe that might happen. I mean, like
a
really kind celebrity might do that, like he's not. He's currently playing though, right?
He's playing for the Kings at that time. Yeah, okay. Which makes sense. LA Kings, right? They're in LA. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, if he lives there and and by all accounts, like Wayne Gretzky is supposedly like a really nice person, right?
Yeah, definitely
the kind of guy that might go just say what's up to a bunch of young hockey players.
Yeah, to the the USA team at the Junior Goodwill Games. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so we get to that game and it's like, okay, here we go. It's USA versus Team Iceland. They moved the game to the new Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, which is where the Ducks began their franchise. It's like this massive arena, which we've actually right down the street from there once. But
who knows?
Yeah, because it's gonna be a sellout because there's so much demand for this game. You know what I mean? 18,000 people want to see it. It's gonna be crazy. So yeah, the game starts like horribly, like the Iceland team. They actually the USA team actually has like a little bit of a scouting report this time. They're trying to do a few things, but the Iceland team gets up 4-0 at one point. And then the start of the second period, Kenny Wu gets a penalty after scoring. And the Bash brothers, Portman and Reed, they like love it and they go crazy. They get penalties, which it's so like you don't really know what's going on in the hockey. This is like another reason why it's like not great, like the hockey stuff, because like what were those penalties? Were they like offsetting at any point? Are they actually going to play 5-on-2 here for a second? Like what are they, which they're already down 4-1, like, and now they have to play 5-on-2. Like,
there are three players
more goals,
box,
so yeah, and then they go crazy in the box, and I mean, it's it's just it's this absurd like stretch of the movie where like there's craziness happening, and then the second period is when Dwayne ropes that player, like
okay, well it's because this is one of the few scenes that Kylie Moreau gets where we absolutely know it's her doing the thing, right?
Yeah,
she gets subbed in, and somebody, I think Guy maybe says like, "Be careful out there, Connie. These guys are rough." And she's like, "I know what I'm
Charlie.
doing."
It's Charlie.
Okay. So Charlie tells her to just be careful because the Iceland players, they're all huge and like
they are. Yeah,
they're just real aggressive physical players, like and dirty as hell, as we've seen in the first game with their treatment of Adam Banks. But
yep.
Which that guy, we'll talk about that later. But there's some nonsense in that game that I don't want to talk about. She this is like one of her only scenes to do something cool, and she's stuck in the corner, like she can't get the puck out. Which, like, the level of hockey they're portraying us that they're at, like, come on, Connie could have. She's just like, I can't get the puck, like, and then that guy's like about to go kill her. So yeah, Dwayne jumps on the ice. That's his name, right?
Yeah,
the Texas guy.
Yep.
Dwayne jumps on the ice and fucking lassos the guy. And then does he get put in the penalty box? Like
He does.
Because there's the play-by-play the commentators or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like penalty for roping another player.
Yeah. 2 minutes for roping. Yeah. So, okay, the play-by-play guy, which here's a little nugget real quick. So he is Bob Miller, which he was the LA Kings play-by-play guy for like 30 years. Like he's like this legendary hockey. And he does like all the games. So yeah, not only is this, a big deal like in the media world, they also hired Bob Miller to call these Goodwill games. So the best of the best here at the Goodwill games. But yeah, I think that's obviously like totally absurd, like that, he ropes a guy and like pulls him down and all, whatever.
I mean, that's what this movie is though. And it's,
yeah,
all the shit that happens in that scene is like fun as hell, man. Like
it is.
We get to see Kenny Wu kind of like he does the thing that the one of the South Central roller hockey guys teaches him. The stick gloves shirt thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that scene's great. I love all the any scene with Fulton and Dean Portman together. When I was a kid, I loved those scenes. Like. I thought both of them were so fucking cool, man.
Yeah. The Bash Brothers. Yeah.
They're the Bash Brothers, man.
So the game, I mean, they start to catch up and they make it 4-2. It's 4-1 at the end of the second period. So like the only thing that happens is that one Kenny Wu goal. So they go into the locker room, between the second and third periods in the intermission, and Bombay's like, this isn't a hockey game. Like that was a circus type thing. Like, we're still down 4-1 type thing. And that's what have the inspiring, where are you from scene, which you can kind of take it away with that.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, well, he kind of gets upset with them at first, right? He's like, what are you guys doing? Like, you having fun out there? And they're like, who's like, the kids are kind of like, well, if we're going to lose, we might as well like have a good time. And I mean, Bombay says something along the lines of like, he just starts to inspire them and like, we'll still remember like their identity as like Team USA. And I can't remember. I actually can't remember. Do you remember who starts this? Like, who's the first one that says where they're? I think Bombay asks someone, maybe Charlie, like, where are you from?
It's Portman. Portman's the first one.
Okay, so Portman. So the structure of the scene is everyone just kind of starts slowly saying, I think Bombay points at the first two or so, and then everyone just starts saying where they're from. Which I mean, I always thought this scene was boring when I was a kid. Like, I mean, it's a really cool scene. And kind of similar to that scene from Miracle.
Very similar.
So like, I play for the United States of America, or whatever the hell it is. But like, after living in Minnesota, like it was more fun because it's boring because it's just like, there's like, I mean, like 12 of them are from Minnesota. And as a kid, I was always like, oh, they're just kind of saying different places. So like to break up the monotony. So they're not all saying St. Paul, or Minneapolis. So I think they're just like naming random towns, but like a lot of those are suburbs of the Twin Cities. So like Adam Banks, he says like, Adam Banks, Edina, Minnesota. Edina is like a very wealthy suburb of the Twin Cities. And Adam Banks he's the cake eater, he's the wealthy kid that was on the rival wealthy team in the first movie. So, like, they put some thought into, like, all right, Adam Banks is probably from Edina,
Yeah.
Averman is from, like, a farther out suburb called Brooklyn Park. It's hard to describe, but it makes total sense that Averman is from Brooklyn Park. Fulton is from Stillwater. Like, Stillwater is more, like, kind of has its own town identity, but is still kind of part of the metro. That's included in the metro population. Fulton looks like a guy who'd be from Stillwater, man. Like... So like they did put some thought into it, like even the fact that Bombay is from Minneapolis and not from St. Paul, like, because in the beginning he's kind of like a slick big city lawyer, like that McKay is from Duluth, that's why her accent is a little thicker.
Yep.
Because Duluth is far north from the Twin Cities, so it makes sense that she would have a thicker accent. I love watching that scene now just because it's just like, it was just so hilarious that Adam Banks is from Edina because it's perfect. He would be from Edina.
That's cool. I like that. That's and yeah, I obviously you don't know that when you're, like Duluth. I mean, I knew that was like its own like separate city, but those other ones, like, I don't know where that is. I mean, I have no idea, like,
yeah, they're all from the Twin Cities except for Coach McKay.
Okay.
Pretty much.
but even the Minneapolis and St. Paul thing, like I visited you enough and like know enough about like that. Like there definitely is a difference there, and it's like interesting that St. Paul. Well, then I love that Keenan is South Central Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's the only one who doesn't say his state. He just says like the area of the city he's from.
Los Angeles. That's so good. Yeah, so Chicago, Miami, Austin, Bangor, Maine, and then all the Minnesota people. And then Ken Wu, San Francisco, obviously. So it's cool. It's cool. And then they're all like, oh, okay, here we are, like, all together now. And then Jan's like, new Ducks and old Ducks unite under one banner, and they
fly together.
They fly together and put on a completely different uniform, which is the one we've alluded to, the like with the Anaheim Ducks.
Well, we're forgetting where he brings up the Ducks fly together part, because
it's
the great thing at the end after they all say where they're from.
Yeah.
They start talking about Ducks fly together. I can't remember what the first thing is, but I know Coach McKay says like. And when the wind is hard and the sky is dark, like Ducks fly together. And then Dwayne's like, what the hell does he say again?
He says when the roosters are crowing and the cows are spinning circles in the pasture.
And they're all like, Ducks fly together. Then Jan brings out and new Ducks and old Ducks. Yeah, is it? Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is unite under one banner.
Yeah,
and brings out the new. So okay, did Jan design that shit?
I mean,
we have Jan to thank for that super rad color scheme and great logo?
I think the movie is wanting us to think so, but he's on Jan on the vanguard. Jan put it on the cutting edge of design here in the mid '90s. Yeah,
this is going to be so good with the kids.
Yeah,
they're going to love it.
They sure did.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I actually found this really old thing I wrote for a website I had like 10 years ago probably, and I wrote about all three of these movies. I watched all three of them like 3 nights in a row, and I made like notes on them and stuff like that. And so I just found my notes as I was looking through it, and I put, there's a point in the game when 3 USA players are in the penalty box creating a 5-on-2 for Iceland. How the favorites in the tournament don't add to their lead in this situation is totally beyond me. But it's 4-1 going into the third period, and Iceland with the lead. But yeah, so third period starts. So it's all inspiring. They come out and everyone's singing "We Will Quack You" instead of "We Will Rock You." Like the entire arena is doing that. Like "We Will Quack You."
Then they're doing it, to the tune of "We Will Rock You."
Right. Yes, by Queen.
When they have the shots of the fans doing it, like these like extras are not even trying, man. Like their claps are just like weak as hell. No one's stomping. But,
they're offbeat.
But yet is a deafening roar. Like
yes, yeah.
No, we will quack you.
You would think they are. I mean, they are at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it is insane in there. Like it's like the crowd. But then there's shots of like on the ice, like even in the shootout where like you can clearly see in the upper deck there's no one there. Like it's so like the continuity stuff that like they screwed up is like there's a lot of them. There's a lot of mistakes like that. Like, and even just like where a guy is like in relation to like the ice or the boards and stuff like that. And then like the very next scene, he's like on the complete opposite end of the ice. It's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of mistakes like that. But essentially what happens, third period starts, USA, they're all, rallied. Here we go. The Ducks are all rallied. And Connie scores to make it 4-2. But then Iceland like immediately comes right back and they take the lead 5-2. Charlie Conway, who gave up his spot to Banks so that Banks could come back after his wrist injury, draws up an alley-oop play that actually works, and Averman scores to make it 5-3.
Oh, is that the but it's the perfect team play.
Yes.
Is that scene? Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the NBA.
This isn't the NBA.
And the speedster Luis Mendoza finally stops. He finally learns how to stop on a breakaway, and he puts a puck between the Iceland guy's 5-hole and makes it 5-4. So the game is winding down.
Put it in, Luis.
Yeah, put it in, Luis. After he stops, sprays the goalie with ice. But the game is winding down. USA is running out of ideas. Russ Tyler then comes on to try his knuckle puck, but Iceland is keen to shut it down, and they do. So Team USA calls a timeout. They try a uniform switch after a timeout in a last-ditch effort to get Russ Tyler his knuckle puck. Predictably, this works. They trade basically Goldberg and Russ switch jerseys and like pads and everything because like he has to become
which can't be allowed.
It's definitely not allowed. And also, how did they do that in the huddle? Like, there's no way he could have done that without him going back to the locker room. It's
absurd.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous. But he comes out, and then Wolf, the Dennis Stanson, the coach for Iceland, he just yells, "The goalie!" So Russ lines up a knuckle puck, scores it at the buzzer in hockey, which like just doesn't ever happen. And that forces a shootout. So no overtime here, just straight to a shootout, just straight into.
I mean, you're watching a hockey movie. There's probably going to be
yeah. So
a shootout scene.
Pretty ridiculous. So yeah, what'd you think about that last period?
I mean, it's just kind of just chaos. I mean, they're just scoring like left and right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, is this when is this when they do they do the flying V? The first time they do it, it doesn't work. But are they able to successfully do the flying V in this scene? Does the flying V ever work?
They do the flying V to get the puck back to Russ as the goalie. Like he comes up with them.
Okay.
That's
I mean, I remember thinking when I was a kid, like how awesome that was. That oh my God, it's Russ. Like no one can stop the knuckle puck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which he says like, only 1 out of 10 go in or whatever, but like it drives goalies crazy when he shoots them. Like it's hard to be accurate.
It's hard to be accurate, but it drives goalies crazy.
Yeah, but then like the 2 he shoots in games score. So it's like, okay, it's not that hard to be accurate. 2 for 2. Like
he never even gets the one off in the Iceland game.
No,
right?
it gets poked away. Yeah, it gets poked away. So yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I mean, yeah, the hockey's just kind of dumb in this movie.
It is. The flying V as like a hockey concept is like so stupid. You're way too narrow. Like one guy gets hit and it's like there's just so easily will be an odd man rush on the other end. Like it's just not smart. Like it's just you have
but Adam ducks do it in real life. So I mean, come on, shut up.
You're gonna say ducks fly together. I was like, please don't.
Oh, I could have said that. Ducks fly together, man.
But Adam, ducks fly together.
Anyway, attack is back, Jack.
So it goes to the shootout and of course they win, but like there's not, not without a little bit of drama. So Adam Banks scores to like put them ahead. And then, so it comes down to the last shooter for Iceland, which is Gunnar Stahl, who's a beast of a hockey player. Like this guy's like clearly the best player in this tournament. So he's up and they make a goalie change for the final shoot, which it's not uncommon for a team to change a goalie in soccer or in hockey, like before a shootout, like to take apart, like to do the whole shootout, but before the very last shot, like that just would not happen. Like that just never.
Okay. Also, Julie does not play at all in the whole tournament.
She never does. Nope.
The one time, and then this is like Julie, like the one time they needed her, she like, I don't know, double gut punches 2 of the Iceland players because they like make a sexist comment or something. They say like, she gets sending a woman to do a man's job and immediately gets ejected.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can't, I'm not a woman, so I don't know if like I can rightly say like, oh, you shouldn't have punched both of those guys in the stomach at the same time, Julie, because, maybe she's just, really upset. But like also the one time you got put in, you get ejected immediately, like she's essentially useless.
Yeah. It's actually like incredibly selfish. You know what I mean? Like I'm a coach. Like I would view that as like a very selfish play. Like I'd be like, hey, like you asked me for a chance.
You're just like, you're off the team now.
Yes. You asked me for a chance. You came to my office and asked me for a chance. I gave you a chance, and that's what you did. Like, no, like sorry, like that's not you're not gonna go back in. Like that's crazy. I mean, and so he puts her in for like the very last like shot, and of course she saves it, and she's the hero.
And there's a reason, yeah. And also, this is a thing that I did notice when I was a kid. Like the buzzer would have known immediately that the shot went in, but the's that quick little thing at the end where we don't know if she stopped it or not.
Yeah, that's
like
so
even
dumb.
Gunnar doesn't know. Like Gunnar can see he's not blind. Like he can see that the puck did not go in, and he's like, did I do it? And then she like does that little thing where she like kind of stands back up and shit, and then just like tosses the puck out.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's really dumb. You would know instantly. Like, I mean, especially the shooter. You would know.
Yeah. Like Gunnar at least, yeah. But then, so Team USA won at that point.
Yeah,
thanks to Julie the Cat Gaffney. Julie the Cat Gaffney having the faster glove.
Yeah, he's fancy. He'll go glove.
You've got the fast glove. And Gunnar Stahl is very graceful about it.
He is.
Let's all remember that. He comes back to the bench. And Wolf did the dentist stance, in which I'm going to refer to him as that every time. Wolf the dentist stance, and is like, "You lost it for me." And then Gunnar's like, "You lost it for yourself. Let's go shake their hands." And now the Iceland team is just like, even though they've been like unrepentant goons the whole movie. Like, because of the leadership of Gunnar Stahl, everything's cool now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Because they're beaten by the plucky Americans. Like now they're just magnanimous in defeat. Like
like well, like earlier in the movie, like they like that. There's that time Banks scores against him in the first one. He's like, yeah, we got one, and he puts his arm out, and like the dude just like breaks his stick on Adam Banks's wrist, like. And then like he doesn't get thrown out for that. Like the ref's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's a penalty.
When Dean Portman got thrown out for like maybe some kind of illegal hit and like accidentally knocking the ref over. Like,
yeah, ridiculous.
Immediately ejected within the first second of the game, and like somebody purposefully like broke a stick on a fucking 14-year-old's arm, and you're not gonna kick that guy out? Like, it's crazy.
No, it makes no sense. Yeah, no, that was like a ridiculous. Like that would be like, and if that happened in the NHL, that'd be like a multiple game suspension. Like that is like an absurd. Like
it would be like all over the news and shit. Yeah, like it was like savage, dude. Like
it's just like oh well, 2 minutes.
It's like, oh, you score? Like
yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, and it was just part of the drama of the movie, but like. I mean, Julie and this guy should have gotten ejected. Like Julie, that makes sense. We weren't even like in play or anything, and she punched two people. But Dean Portman I don't think he should have been kicked out.
No, pretty soft.
He obviously did not. He obviously did not knock the ref over on purpose. And if there was another official, like there would be, right?
Yes.
They would have been like, oh no, obviously didn't do that on purpose. Like,
yeah. Yeah, sure.
And plus, you're an official. You're a hockey official. Like, that things like that might happen.
Yeah.
You're playing.
Yeah. It'd be a penalty, and like that'd be it. Like that would be it. Yeah. But no, yeah, it's like totally ridiculous. But so here's a little thing about the ref. That ref that is like reffing the like championship game is the same ref that's reffing Bombay's minor league game in the opening scene.
Oh no shit.
So they flew him in from Minnesota. Minnesota Waves game. Be a ref.
It's a minor league hockey.
To the junior good.
Hey, moving up in the world.
Yeah, no, yeah, clearly, yeah, the media attention is worth it. But
right.
so in that thing I wrote a few years ago, I found my paragraph on the last scene here. So let me say, okay, Bombay tells Gaffney that Stahl is going to go glove side as he takes the shot. Gaffney clearly stops it, but the entire stadium pauses for no apparent reason. The light would go off as he made it, but oh well. Team USA wins. Bombay, Conway, and Co. storm the ice and parade around with their flag. The movie ends with the whole team sitting around a campfire and Averman singing "We Are the Champions," a fitting end to a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that about sums it up, man.
Yeah. So yeah, they say
okay.
Campfire, and that's it.
Real quick about that last scene though. Don Tibbles is there.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is Don Tibbles there?
No, shouldn't be there.
Don Tibbles wasn't like when the chips were down, he was a real asshole to Bombay. And there's like a scene where Tibbles and Bombay lock eyes, like while everybody is singing the Queen song. And that like they just kind of do this head nod, like, yeah, we did it. Like, dude, Tibbles was not. He was like, you better get the damn magic back, Gordon. Because then you're going to go back to Palookaville, Minnesota. Like he really showed his true colors in that scene.
Absolutely. And
like now they're just buddies again. Don Tibbles is not invited to the campfire end of the movie scene. He shouldn't have been there.
No, and that would be team only. That really would like a team like that wins the championship. That would be team and coaches only. Like that would not be. I don't even think maybe McKay might not even be there. You know what I mean? Like that's a pretty intimate, like, hey, let's go celebrate this thing with just like the group that did it. Like, yeah, it would not be some executive from like the freaking jersey manufacturer. Like that's not like, that's not like that. It'd be like a guy from Nike being at like when the Lakers won the championship. Like, oh yeah, here he is. Like, yeah, that's like bizarre. I mean, I don't know. But
well, he's just also one of the few characters. There's really outside of the team and like a few antagonists. There's no other characters in this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So I like what like it's just like all the good guys at the end of the movie together. You know what? Gunnar Stahl deserved to be there more than I wanted to see at the end where we see a budding romance between Gunnar Stahl and Julie the Cat Gaffney.
That'd be great.
Instead of a scene where Tibbles does this bullshit head nod to Bombay. Come on. What are you thinking, Brill?
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Brill?
Pretty ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun movie. It really is. Like, I mean, the movie, you're like, it's enjoyable. It's like a really enjoyable movie. Like, I really like. I totally get why I watched this so much as a kid. Like I get why this would be like, there's a couple kind of like emotional moments, like the Adam Banks return and like all that stuff, and Charlie giving up his jersey and like, it's pretty cool. It's like, and there's some coaching stuff that like certainly I can take. Like, I mean, I don't think I do this like ever, but to get like such a big head where it's like, oh, I'm more than the team, or I'm more important, or like, these kids, they're just whatever. I'm, this is all about me. Like, I mean, I think there's coaches that's happened to before, and I think that's that's a clearly ripped from the headlines type thing. And I think they do a good job of kind of portraying how ego can go wrong in a team setting. And so I think that part of it is like pretty cool. And there's just some like really funny moments. So I want to kind of go back now, like with a little bit that we have left, and just kind of talk about maybe some favorite scenes that like don't really have anything to do with like hockey or like propel the narrative forward, but just like our funny scenes that you just happen to like. Do you have any in mind?
Well, I mean, I think before we cut it, there's got to be two things that we need to talk about. We need to go a little bit deeper into Wolf the Dentist Stanson.
For sure.
We haven't talked enough about him, nearly enough. But I'll just say I want to talk about the opening sequence. Well, not the opening sequence, but so this is after Bombay has decided to take the Team USA coaching job, and Charlie Conway starts rollerblading all around the Twin Cities to get the Ducks back together. Like we haven't talked about that scene yet. Like,
we shouldn't have omitted that. That's a great scene.
Which is I mean, there's like, you can find online the amount of distance that they traveled, like to all the places they went. I mean, just the fact that they were in the Mall of America. Like they skate around. Which, first off, the Mall of America, this is the mid '90s, so things could be different. But the Mall of America has their own like police force. Like they have their own like cops. Like not even security, like they're like police officers, like in the Mall of America. They would have put the kibosh on these kids, just like just causing mayhem. They like steal that guy's hat and shit, and they're just rollerblading around the Mall of America. I mean, it's a great scene, but like, but the amount of distance they travel on skates is insane. They would have been like dead by the end of it. Like they're just like, oh yeah. Well, they do some shitty things in that scene too, though. Like they knock that dude into a wheelbarrow, and he just gets covered in cement. You remember that? Like,
yeah.
Good God, man! Like that's like serious, man. And they're just like, oh, they push Goldberg down that fucking hill, man. Like one of them like shoves him down a hill.
Yep.
And he's just like rolling, and then like lands on that picnic. Like Goldberg could have gotten seriously hurt.
And they don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that scene is rad though. I mean, it's a classic scene of like getting the gang back together.
Yeah.
They find everybody in like cool places. Averman's at his like summer job. Goldberg's at the family restaurant. Connie and Guy are about to kiss by a lake or something like that. And then so these three kids at the end of that scene are they from
the Hawks.
from the first movie, right?
Yeah, the Hawks. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and then we get Fulton Reed comes back into the picture, steals their clothes and ties them to a tree. It's pretty savage, pretty brutal.
Yeah. Hi guys.
Yeah, his voice through getting like he's like, they won't know what hit him.
Yeah. It sounds so different than when he normally talks.
Yeah. I love Fulton Reed.
Yeah, he's the man. That scene's great. So I want to talk about the Rodeo Drive scene. So it's Dwayne.
Oh hell yeah.
It's Dwayne, Jesse, Goldberg, and Averman, and they're walking around Rodeo Drive, like and what's the joke? They say this is Beverly Hills. Where's all the hills? That's what Jesse said at one point. And then he's like, this isn't any rodeo drive. Like, I've been to a rodeo. This isn't a rodeo drive. No, it's Rodeo Drive. Like, there's an accident.
I see it on the side right there.
He's like, doesn't get it. But yeah. So they try to get into stores, and, it's all like kind of intercom system. Obviously, it's like, security. Like, they don't want like just like any random person coming in. So they eventually go into one. And what's the joke? It's like, what a weird joke. Goldberg uses Aaron Spelling, who's just like a major like producer. Like, it's not like, like I don't know how many people know who Aaron Spelling is. Maybe I'm like way off.
I mean, he may have been like, just this
really hot name like right then. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm looking him up. I mean, he produced a ton of stuff like Dynasty, Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, Seventh Heaven, Sean.
Okay, yeah. So that would have been that time period when he was
So
like
he's
probably
just
one of the hottest names.
Major producer. So so I guess.
But I mean,
guess
this lady's an idiot for believing that.
I know, yeah. She's like, oh, Uncle Aaron like wouldn't be happy to hear like, oh, Aaron spelling. Like, of course, she like immediately goes to, oh, it must be Aaron spelling. Like
he goes, no, heck, Aaron. Of course, Aaron spelling.
No, Hank. That's so funny.
Right, what's the guy that plays Goldberg? That dude's brilliant. Like
Sean Weiss.
Sean White. Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Who was also a heavyweights guy.
Yes, also a heavyweights guy. He's had a checkered history since this movie. He kind of had some major issues and stuff like that. It's kind of sad. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's they basically get a free like fashion show because this guy says he wants to buy something for his mom, and so they bring out these models and like she's showing all this different stuff, and eventually the joke is, he's like, oh, I think my mom really needs a bikini, and that's when she realized, okay, the jig is up. They're just like kids, and so she kicks them out. But yeah, that's a pretty good scene. That's like a pretty funny like kids scene. Yeah,
it is okay.
Like they have a lot of freedom
scene, though. Who do we have in that scene? We got Goldberg,
Jesse
Hall.
Yep, Dwayne.
And who's the is
Averman? It's Averman. I said that earlier. Yeah.
Oh, Averman, right?
Yeah. And they're just like in love, like watching all these women.
Yeah, and that's the perfect crew that would be there.
Yes. Yeah, they clearly the kids have like a lot of freedom because like there's lots of scenes of them like just like messing around in the dorms,
just fucking around. Yeah.
Yeah. At one point they drive at Zamboni through the glass, like
Guy, Jesse,
and Fulton.
And Fulton, yeah.
Yes, that would be like
they're like, that was awesome.
Thousands and thousands of dollars in damage. Like that would be just a crazy thing to repair. And they're just like, oh well, like kids being kids,
That comes like on the like as part of that, like connected to the training sequence, which I just hated this time around. The like where they play that like country song.
Yeah.
Like he ropes them and they like line dance. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
there's a few of those scenes like hit like the photo shoot scene, like the song that's paired with that is like so cool. I love that the song when they're in the dorms, right? There's the scene where they put the shaving cream on Dwayne and then like tickle him or whatever.
Yeah.
So that he, and he gets all mad. This is the scene where Portman and Fulton are like little tunes to go to sleep by. Yeah. They listen to like a cover of that Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, the like Bachman Turner Overdrive song. Like, why is that what they put on? It's so weird.
So random.
But yeah, that scene that we get them like they're getting in bed and listening. He's like, sweet dreams, dude. Well, cuts back to them and they're playing air guitar, jumping around on their bed, listening to this song.
Yeah. They clearly have like a ton of freedom. Like it's like they're allowed to kind of do.
Just to walk around Beverly Hills, like
which begs the question about like the two women on the team and like the two girls on the team, like were they like by themselves? Like what was the locker room situation? Like were they allowed to come in like at certain times or not allowed to come in at certain times? I mean,
there's a lot of logistics that we just never really get.
Yeah, just kind of. I mean, I'm sure like all of those guys are, like hitting on those girls constantly. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's just like that would.
No one's gonna. I mean, maybe Portman's maybe gonna come hard at Connie, but everybody else knows that Connie's Guy's girl.
Maybe
nobody would mess with Guy Germain.
I read an article.
Who's a useless character.
This is a long time ago. This is maybe 10 years ago, but I read this article about like where are they now, like with all of them, and Margaret Moreau, who plays Connie, she talked about like she's like, yeah, those summers were like really fun. She was like, I definitely like made out with more than one of the like players on the team, like at different points. She's like, it's like we were at camp. She's like, it was a lot of fun. Like all the guys were really cool, and the producers were great, and the writers were great. Like it was just they made it like really fun for us. So it sounds like it was like a really fun movie to make, as a cast,
right?
Which is pretty cool. I'm sure it was. It comes across because the chemistry is really good between all the kids.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. It's hard because you just wish like you could have more screen time of every character. That's the way I feel. But like, I mean, I think it's important to remember this is a kids movie, and that when I was a kid, I felt like the characters were drawn like so well. Watching it again as an adult, it's kind of like, oh, like we really don't even get a lot of time with any of these characters. And obviously the ones from the first movie, we've already got some development and some arcs that have already been completed or whatever. We know a little bit more about the characters, but but I mean, for like the limited screen time, like every little bit we get with everyone, like the characters are drawn really well. Like they all feel pretty full.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously they give a ton of screen time to Gordon. I mean, that's cool. You know, he gets the most. But,
Yeah. And
but no, it is. Yeah. So I want to finish with this. So like, unless you have anything else, like kind of scenes and things like that stood out to you.
Do you want to talk about the dentist?
Well, yeah, I was I want to talk about some characters, but I also want to go worst thing about the movie, best thing about the movie.
Oh man, I don't know.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll
I think the best thing about the movie is the kids' chemistry and how fun of a team it looks like it would be to be on. Like sometimes teams like that, like they kind of are miserable because like, all these different kids from different walks of life. It's like hard to kind of get them to all buy into one, common goal. I mean, just as someone who's coached kids, like I've had teams where it's like, man, this is like not that fun to be around. And then I have a team right now that I actually really enjoy being around. And it's like, okay, when it's like that, man, it's fun. It makes you just want to go to practice. You want to have games. You want to, you just want to kind of keep building and keep spending time with this group. And so I think that was the best thing from the movie. The worst thing is some of the hockey in the tournament style and just like, the lack of like, it makes no sense to the junior Goodwill games and this like random hockey team like would be this big of it just makes zero sense, but it's like, whatever, it's a kid's movie. It's like, I can get over it pretty quickly. But as like a sports media, like consumer, it's like, this is just not what would get attention. You know what I mean? Like they just be talking about like the NFL game or whatever, or like whatever game's going on at the night before. Like, it's just, and the woman recognizing them in that like, elite like we already talked about that, but it's like, it's just so ridiculous. Like that just would never ever happen. So
hey, I know you kids.
Yeah.
Your team USA hockey.
So yeah,
I love you guys.
Like that woman wouldn't recognize like the elite men's team, like the senior men's team. You know what I mean? Like we could have like Patrick Kane and like all these guys come in, like these like major U.S. hockey players.
Yeah, I mean,
and like she would not recognize them. No,
I mean, most people wouldn't. And I mean, I think we've talked about this several times about how NBA players' celebrity is sometimes like so much more potent than other athletes. Well, I mean, worldwide, like soccer players, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
Like there's probably like a billion people who know Ronaldo's name or something like that,
at least.
But the helmets and shit,
yeah.
So yeah, I don't think, I mean, like, I don't even think like if you just showed me a picture of Wayne Gretzky right now, I don't think I'd be like, and to ask me who it was, I'm not sure if I would know right away.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's, so yeah, the fact that this lady who, well, also it doesn't really link up with the idea that we're supposed to kind of feel like these are these posh like elite people, like, and she's kind of just like a really nice like Midwestern lady, like, hey, you kids, like, well, like it doesn't track with what they've been trying to tell us LA is like, because like it's a one of those things where it's like LA bad, Midwest good,
Yes.
So I think like good, like Midwestern values are good, and LA is just, unless you're like from South Central LA and you could teach us a thing or two, like, LA bad.
Yeah. And there's definitely some like jingoistic, like, that good old American spirit can like conquer all, stuff that's like, okay, like that's kind of lame, but yeah. And so I think that's kind of like the two things I took from the movie. But what about you?
I don't know. Can I just say the Bash Brothers are actually, I think I'm just gonna say Wolf the Dentist Stanson.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Yeah, go ahead.
This movie.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'll say that's my favorite thing. I mean, the worst thing, I think I'd just say the same. The thing that just bothered me the whole time. I mean, the pacing. A lot of times watching movies that I loved as a kid, watching them as adults, like the pacing is just like breakneck, like it's just like, here's this, and they got to do that because like that's how kids like, I think kids like perceive things, like I used to think that like Aladdin was like a 2-hour epic, and I watched it again and I'm like, it's so fast, everything happens so quickly, so like nothing really has time to breathe, but that's also the kind of movie it is. So I think I'm just gonna bandwagon on your worst thing and just say like all the questions I had about I guess it's not necessarily the same thing. I'll just say like the tournament structure, and just the whole concept of the games and all that. I think that I'll say that's my worst thing. Wolf Wolf the dentist dancing with the Bash Brothers as a close second is probably my favorite thing.
Yeah. So Wolf the dentist. Let's talk about him real quick before we wrap up. So he's the coach of the Iceland team. The actor is, where'd he go? I just lost him. Karsten Norgard.
Yes.
Karsten Norgard.
Norgard.
Yeah, he's a Danish man from Frederiksberg, Denmark. He's a producer. He's known for Man in the High Castle, that show, The Three Musketeers, Alien versus Predator.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Okay. Right on.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's still acting like to this day. I mean, he's still in stuff. He's in, something called The Gristle that's coming out soon. From American Trader, The Trial of Axis Sally came out last year. So, he's like been in stuff. He's like continually a working actor, but he's so ridiculous in this movie. And he's such an obvious, like, Nordic accent. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, I've heard a few people from Iceland speak just because Tottenham used to have a player from Iceland, but it's like, I don't know. Like, that's not what that guy would probably sound like, but he has this ridiculous kind of cadence in his voice. Like that, like he's so intense. Like he's ridiculously intense for coaching like a 14-year-old like team, like he has this just like aura of just like, oh my God, like this is a serial killer. You know what I mean? So like, he does a good job of like, having this aura of like, hey, I'm the villain here,
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's just so obviously evil. Like we see in a lot of movies, like kids movies, like he's just bad. And I mean, there's a scene when like the first time that Bombay meets the Iceland trainer, who's just this very conventionally beautiful woman, and Gordon Bombay is obviously just like taken aback by her, like, oh my God, who are you? Yeah. And then she introduces herself as the trainer for Iceland, and he's like, oh, well, we play each other or whatever. And then maybe one of the first times we ever, this is the first time they have a scene like face to face, Bombay and the the dentist, sorry. And Bombay, he like walks up and he just says something to her in another language. I assume Icelandic, and then she just kind of like looks down, like, and it just very much seemed like they have like a really abusive, like they're dating, and that they have like a really abusive relationship. Like they go home and he beats her, man. Like that's like she just looked down really quick and was like, oh, like ran off. Like,
yeah, just like this controlling guy. You know what I mean? Like he just comes across as like, everything is under my thumb, and like you will not stray from that path. You know what I mean? Like,
I just can't imagine Iceland would choose someone like that too.
Yeah.
Like Iceland, by all accounts, actually is like supposedly a really nice place to live, and the people that live there are like simple and kind. Like not simple like stupid, but like you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
Well, by all accounts.
And they wouldn't have him coach the 14-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like maybe he could coach like the
as some adults. Yeah,
sure.
But like if he can get results, but like this is not a good way for kids to be brought up. Like it could be monsters. I mean, the blonde kid, I can't remember any of the other characters' names on the Iceland team, but the one that's just like laughing as he slowly approaches Connie like he's going to kill her.
Yeah,
is the same guy that like breaks his stick on Banks's arm. Like, good Lord, that dude's this guy's not learning the right way to live, man. And he's where he gets it from? He gets it from Wolf, the dentist, man.
So that guy is Olaf.
Oh, that does kind of ring a bell, yeah.
Yeah. Olaf Sanderson. Olaf Sanderson is his name.
Right on.
Yeah. In my country, we call that a love tap.
Yeah.
At one point, yeah.
It was.
So I guess to wrap up, let's kind of go through just like cast members. I mean, obviously, moving forward, we talked about this already. Joshua Jackson, obviously has been a bunch of stuff. Kenan Thompson is now the longest running SNL member of all time. He's just hilarious and he's great in this movie. Like just full of charisma. You know what I mean? Like he comes on the screen, you're like, okay, this kid's a star. Like just so clearly a star. Estevez has done a bunch of stuff. Michael Tucker.
They're back and forth, and where he's like heckling Bombay basically.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, that scene's great.
Bro, those scenes are brilliant.
Yeah, really funny. And then Margaret Moreau, who plays Connie, she went on to do a bunch of stuff, and then so did Eldon Henson. So Eldon Henson and Garrett Henson, they're brothers, right? The guy who plays Guy is Fulton's brother in real life.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, they're brothers, and then Eldon went on to continue to be in movies and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
So yeah, so that's kind of it for the movie. I mean, I don't think you have much more, to add, but yeah, wrapping up. I mean, it's fun. I really like, if you've never seen it, like just watch it with kind of through the eyes of a kid, and if you have the kind of nostalgic, like, oh yeah, I watched that when I was 10. Like, I wonder what it'd be like today. It's worth it. I think it's worth watching because it's like it's just a really fun movie.
Yeah, I know. I agree, man. I think this is rewatchable as hell too, man. I mean, saying that how many times we've seen it over the years, like, and it's still really entertaining every time I watch it. I mean, I watched it after work the other day, knowing that we were going to do this, and still like enjoyed every second of it. I think,
Yeah, me too.
Even though it's absolutely ridiculous, and like I'm still like, what, but I'm having reactions like that through the whole movie. But yeah, it's a rad movie, man. I'd suggest it to anybody.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's really fun. So that's it for us. So this was Adam and Jeremy Johnson. We again, Austin's brothers. We're thankful for the opportunity to do this. I want everybody to check out Filmgazm Productions on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also the website filmgazm.com, where Connor and Austin have written hundreds of reviews, and where you can find all their content and
thousands
back for more. Yeah, thousands. Yeah, I shouldn't
thousands.
say thousands of reviews.
Millions maybe.
Not quite yet. I'm sure Connor.
No, you gotta go find out.
Possibly. Go to the website. Maybe there are millions. You can go find out. So wrapping up again for Filmgazm, Adam Johnson and Jeremy Johnson. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.